Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Managing Madrid podcast. We are now 1 hour kick away from kickoff in what will be, up until now, the biggest game of the season. Real Madrid welcoming Manchester City at the Bernabeu for the Champions League quarterfinals. First leg in what has now become a European Classico of sorts. It is the two best teams in the world, in my opinion. And I have said this before, I think this is the final in many ways. Whoever wins this tie will probably have the best chance of winning the whole damn thing. And we've been talking about this game forever, and we are here for last minute thoughts. And of course, Lucas Navarrete is at the Santiago Bernabeu right now. He's calling myself, Kian Sabani, and Siddharth Ramsundar in. Lucas, what's going on, man? What's the vibe like?
Hello, Kian. The vibe is great. I don't know if you can hear some of the music, but Taylor Swift is playing really loud at the Bernabeu right now, maybe getting the Madrid fans, the Madrid faithful ready for the Eras tour that is going to come to the Bernabeu later this summer. But yeah, so far so good. The atmosphere is pretty standard, I would say. It was crazy outside the Bernabeu, but right now everyone seems just to be waiting a little bit before obviously the fun begins.
You've been, busy for Managing Madrid the last couple of days. Yesterday, you were at Valdebebas. You were at the training session. You were at the press conference. Did anything stand out to you from that? And also the quotes from Ancelotti, Rudiger?
Lots of media. That was my main highlight from both yesterday and today. This is as packed as I've ever seen both Valdebebas and the Bernabeu media section. So that's my main highlight, really. Lots and lots and lots of media. This is quite possibly Real Madrid's the first time that Real Madrid have actually made sure that the whole media section is full. This new media section that it's obviously bigger than it was before. So that's my main highlight. And about the quotes, just pretty standard stuff, really. Like Ancelotti kind of keeping his cards close to his chest. Now we all know that Rudiger and Tchouaméni are starting in the defensive line, but he wasn't ready to commit to that thought or announce anything like that yesterday. It was pretty much the usual stuff from both guys before a big Champions League game.
So we have the lineups for both teams now. Obviously, Real Madrid typically releases 2 hours before the game. City have released it. I don't know when they released it. Actually, let me check. About 20 minutes ago. So that lineup is out now. There are one or two surprises in there, which will be interesting to explore. Sid, we now know the lineup. We were theorizing about it for, I would say, months. Whenever the draw was made, we talked about it extensively yesterday. Let's talk about the Real Madrid lineup first before we get to City. Pretty much what we thought, right? Kind of. The only question mark was Camavinga, Nacho, whoever starts.
Yeah. It seems he felt Camavinga can offer the dribbling from midfield while still giving enough of what Tchouaméni offers defensively. And it seems out of the pairs of Nacho, Tchouaméni, Nacho, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni, Camavinga for those positions, he liked this one the most. I agree with it. I think I really like Camavinga and Fede protecting Cruz, so to speak, in midfield. I think it can work. I just wasn't sure if he was afraid of Camavinga giving the ball away, and I think the answer is a firm no. Go for it. And he doesn't care about the yellow cards. It's very much a go play without fear lineup. He played all four guys on yellow cards. So I like the boldness of it. I like the feeling I get, which is go take the game to them, dribble past them, slide tackle them, do what you're good at, which I like.
The whole yellow card thing, Lucas, I'm curious to know what you think about this, because I think this is the right way to go. I think you have to basically go match to match. You have to not worry about what's going to happen 2 games from now. You got to win this game. You'll get lucky. No one gets the yellow card. And if you do, you kind of cross that bridge when you get there. But I don't to me, the excuse of oh, these guys are yellow away was never enough for me to be okay, let's bench them. I think you have to play them regardless.
I agree. What's the point of keeping them on the bench and making sure that they are ready to start in the second leg if you're going to play that second leg with a deficit to begin with? You have to take care of the job today and then hope for the best and hope that they are, one, available for the return leg, and if they aren't, there goes option 2. Hope that you can take care of and protect maybe the good result that you get today without them. So I completely agree. I think this is the way to go. You worry about the return leg when you get there, actually.
Have you seen the Manchester City lineup yet?
Yeah, I have. I just saw that De Bruyne is not starting. Seems to me that, Pep Guardiola's quote-unquote spokesperson, Guillem Balaguer, said that De Bruyne isn't feeling well. So this is clearly and quite possibly what actually happened behind the scenes as to why De Bruyne is not starting. So very interesting to see that De Bruyne is not starting. Maybe this is something Real Madrid can take advantage of, given that Kovacic is not in the same tier as De Bruyne as a midfielder. I don't think, definitely.
Well, they're just so stacked that no matter who they have, whether it's Foden or Silva, and kind of the way it's listed here in the lineup is Silva middle, Foden on the right. I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen. You might see it inverse or interchangeable in Foden down the middle and Silva on the right instead. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, they have so many weapons that it plays in our favor that he's not playing, and it's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, him being unwell would be the only explanation for him to hit the bench, given how amazing he is and getting into this game in form with the goal he scored recently in the last game against I think Crystal Palace it was. Sid, you and I were speaking about who's going to take the Kyle Walker role. Is it going to be Rico Lewis? Does he get the nod in this game, or are they just going to shift it around? Guardiola was kind of a question mark. We weren't sure if it was mind games or not, but the fact that he didn't train yesterday, but he's obviously starting on the left. Akanji on the right. Do you like this for Vinny?
I think I do. Akanji is still one of their best defenders to put out wide against Vinny. Like the Guardiola, Akanji, Ake, they're all really good, like hybrid fullbacks when they have to go defend a winger. So I still like it, just as far as like they don't have Ake waiting on the bench if they need to change something around. They don't have a plan B here. If he gets torched, he gets torched. It's over for them. Like Ruben Diaz isn't going to do a better job. John Stones with injury issues, you don't want him playing out wide. The best thing you could do is swap Guardiola and Akanji. And if they do that, then their offense gets neutered because Guardiola can work on the left. Akanji can work on the right, swap them. And I don't think Akanji on the left is scaring me at all from the left back position. So the lack of a plan B is always big with Pep because Vinny is the kind of guy where maybe you don't get it right your first look or you have to be almost perfect. So I like the lack of a plan B, but individually, that is still a very strong back line. I think Rico Lewis was the weakest defender that we could have went up against.
Lucas, we have a super chat for you from Zeppelin. He says, Lucas, what's the situation looking like with the fans wearing white? Did people understand the memo?
Look, I hate to disappoint you, but no, they didn't. Only the Grada fans guys are wearing white. Obviously, you see some other people wearing white in the stands, but I say it's pretty standard in the stands here. So, hate to be disappointed. I'm guessing that the players won't be very disappointed either, even though they were kind of advocating for this to happen. But yeah, no full white Bernabeu will happen today.
They should do what they do in the NBA stadiums, where the organization will literally just put the T-shirts on each chair. So, like, even if you don't have a white jersey, it's just a white T-shirt you put on. It would cost us, like, with Florentino's pull, it would cost us like 10 cents a pop maximum. What are your genuine like feelings right now? The vibes, Lucas. Like, how are you feeling about this game? Like, you're part of the atmosphere, the ambiance. You see the fans outside the stadium. Like, you feeling nervous? You feeling excited? You feeling optimistic? What do you feel?
I feel like everyone is just kind of anxiously waiting right now, like a lot of like anticipation maybe from the fans. I don't see any particular like optimism or excitement or anything like that. Everyone seems to be kind of waiting, knowing quite possibly that this is going to go to the return leg, right? They probably know that this is, unless anything big happens, unless anything dramatic happens, they know that there will be 90 more minutes at the Etihad to be played. So this is quite possibly the reason why everyone seems to be like, I wouldn't say relaxed, but just kind of waiting, really, that waiting mood.
Sid, ever since they implemented this new rule where the away goal rule is abolished, the first leg is kind of watered down to me. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, this is an important game, but the real one is the real final is the second leg. So I don't know. Like, obviously, if there's a marginal result either way or a draw, 5-5 is the same as 0-0. 1-0 win here and there is the same as 6-5 win. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't exactly know what's going to happen today. I think the scenario where obviously we all want to see is like we go into the second leg with a 2-0 lead would be really beautiful, obviously. Yeah. I guess I'll pose a similar question to you. How you feeling about this? You feeling excited, nervous? You feeling confident?
No, De Bruyne makes me in some ways a little more confident, just knowing like, it's not going to be him, the blonde guy turning and one touch, he can create a chance from 40 yards out. But I mean, Foden is playing his natural role, so definitely have to watch out. He'll be playing through the middle. Bernardo on the right, I'm more confident about that matchup than last year because he did do both Davies and Camavinga kind of dirty at points in both those matchups. But I'm so excited to see how Furlan and Camavinga double team him on the flank now. It's like, all right, like you take on one of them. How do you like two of them? Yeah, Lucas, you had something to add there, or?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, especially on the Bernardo and Mendy point. I think that this is Mendy's time to shine, right? We've all been complaining about his lack of offensive contribution in recent years. But if there's a scenario where I'm confident about his ability to contribute, it's this one. Real Madrid struggled covering Bernardo Silva last year a lot. Camavinga did especially. And now Mendy's available, and hopefully he'll be able to kind of use his best abilities and his best skills as a player by covering him with a lot of composure and hopefully, a lot of focus as well, because Bernardo is a difficult player to deal with.
Well, when I look at our lineup now, like I see a lot of things that we just didn't have last year, to be honest. First of all, I see a situation where we're fresh. And I know a lot of theorizing has been like, is it better to have 9 days rest? Is it better to play games and have momentum and rhythm? And maybe like just given City's health right now, maybe the answer is kind of clear to us before the game starts that it probably was better to have some rest. So many times, Lucas, we've heard from Ancelotti after the game in the press conference, Jude is tired, Bellingham's tired. These guys are tired. No one's tired right now. We have a healthy Furlan Mendy, which we did not have last season. We have the Jude Bellingham factor, which to me is an upgrade over last year's version of Benzema, who kind of dragged himself to the finish line, and obviously he wasn't himself. So we look better on paper, and that kind of gives me like the delusional optimism in some way. Again, it really matters what we're looking like in the second leg, like who's healthy then, who's suspended then, what the scoreline is by then. That's what really matters. But this is a really good opportunity to, I think, pad it. Like, I it's not that I would be devastated that if we with a draw or a marginal victory or whatever, but I really feel like you want to go for a 2-0 victory and then also go to the Etihad and win that one too. I know it sounds kind of crazy because of the way we've been talking, but I had this whole monologue yesterday, Lucas, that like we kind of have this foregone conclusion, like collectively as the media and fans, that the second leg is already like lost. So like we have to win this, and like I think we have to go with the mentality to win both. Do you remember, you guys, maybe you don't remember this. I remember because I was a Raptors fan, but in 2019, when the Raptors were in the finals against the Warriors, Lowry told Kawhi, like, we got to go to Golden State and split that. We got to get one there. And he's like, what are you talking about? We're going to win both. That's what I want. I want to see that mentality. I said, we got to go and win both of these games. But yeah, man, this KDB thing kind of came out of nowhere. And they have a lot of great players to kind of make up for it, I suppose. But that's pretty big news. Him and Walker, those are the two big absentees. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
I will just real quick pose the question that you made a great point by saying that Real Madrid definitely look better than last year. And I will also say that they probably look worse. So hopefully the balance is a little bit more
City
balanced,
look
no
worse.
pun intended. Yeah, City look worse, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously without De Bruyne, they even worse than if he were available. So I agree with you. I think this is the time for Real Madrid to show champions mentality. Championship winning teams often do this. You mentioned the Raptors, the Nuggets did this last season as well when they lost the game 2 at home. And not only did they recover the home court advantage by winning game 3, but they also won game 4. So I feel this is Real Madrid's time to make a statement. And even though with a 2-0 win or a 3-1 lead, the tie will not be over. I think this is a good opportunity for Real Madrid to make sure that they face Manchester City at the Etihad with a decent lead, and not only a 1-goal lead, hopefully, and definitely not a draw. I think a draw. You said you will not be devastated. Devastated maybe too strong of a word, but I think it will be pretty bad for the return leg considering the scenario.
Go ahead, Sid.
I'm just so interested to see. It's not always that we lose one of our own and he comes back to play against us in a high-profile tie on a good team, but that's what we get with Kovacic. Starting double pivot. He's actually been pretty good this year. Like when they were getting smacked around by Liverpool earlier last month, Kovacic came off for the bench for De Bruyne, big part in slowing things down. And, I want to make fun of him, say the lights are too bright, but it's a really unfortunate case of like a very talented player finding a team that could really use his skills very effectively. Like he's no Declan Rice, he's no Aurelien Tchouameni, but for the price, he's pretty good for what he offers next to Rodri. So, they don't have the same speed City to hurt us in transition. Like outside Haaland, you could say they have Foden, but they do have a lot of ability to kill the game tempo with Kovacic, Rodri, Bernardo, specifically those three playing in the same unit. He's just very capable of killing tempo, and it's a shame. Like he's a good player. I would love to make fun of him, but there's nothing I can say.
Do you guys think that he's a Guardiola player though? De Bruyne definitely is, I feel like. With Kovacic, I feel like he's more chaotic, and although he's matured from his years in Madrid, where he was definitely more chaotic than he is now, I still think that he's maybe a bit prone to making some mistakes and some costly turnovers in the midfield. So hopefully that's the case that happens tonight. And while I appreciate Kovacic as a player, I feel like in the system that Guardiola tends to use, which leaves his center backs and his defenders pretty vulnerable to counterattack and transitions opportunity, his style of play, again, maybe prone to committing turnovers and all that, could be costly in such a scenario like tonight. I don't know if you guys agree.
I just think Pep has done a good job coaching it out of him is all I'd say. Like compared to before, he had a game against Arsenal, the first game when he played without Rodri, and he was making mistake after mistake. But that was unfortunately like 6 months ago, and he has played more minutes since. And I think they've done a good job just getting him good at like he makes the simple pass. They don't ask him to do much. I think the challenge is like if he carries the ball past a certain part in the midfield, but they've done a good job limiting him to kind of carrying the ball from deep from the left center back, left fullback area. They don't let him like go interfere with their offense. And that's where I'm worried about him. But he is like, I don't know, like I guess like he's definitely could make 1 or 2 mistakes, but I don't think we'll see a Kovacic make 6, 7 mistakes. He's not like that. So I think, unfortunately, I expect there to be like a 20, 30 minute stretch. I wouldn't be surprised tonight if Kovacic just keeps the ball from us. We kind of look at some point, 20, 30 minutes. But to do it for 90 minutes is a different story, especially against our guys. So, I hope we see mistakes. He's just so good at dribbling. Like the mistakes are from intent, but like his actual feet, they don't like, he doesn't make too many technical mistakes, I feel like.
Camavinga is a brilliant tackler, though. I mean, this is a very interesting matchup in terms of, a guy who's brilliant dribbling the ball, facing quite possibly one of the best tacklers in Europe, at least in terms of, maybe not in terms of efficiency, but in terms of recovering some balls that definitely you do not expect him to reach and recover cleanly. So very interesting matchup with regards to the outcome of the game, maybe.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I think we'll see Fede and Jude step up a lot on Kovacic and Rodri, and I think we'll see Bernardo end up more in the Camavinga zone. So I'm very excited for those matchups for sure.
Yeah, Lucas said and I were doing a Manchester City preview yesterday. It was like preview number 200, and this is number 201. This is the facto, like the absolute icing on the cake of previews. Like, we can't do any more. The game starts in 40 minutes, so this is finally the last time we're doing a preview about these guys. But we were talking about the dynamic of Tchouaméni and Camavinga on the field, and Camavinga playing as a six. And you think back to the first leg last year, where Camavinga has that brilliant assist to Vinicius in the first leg, right, where he carries the ball. And then on the flip side, defensively, he destroyed Bernardo Silva, first leg specifically. And like, to me, the question is like, it's great that we fit Camavinga into the starting lineup. That's a huge side benefit of starting Tchouaméni at center back over Nacho, apart from the fact that Tchouaméni is better than Nacho right now. But the side benefit is obviously Camavinga gets into the starting 11, and the more Camavinga you have on the field, the more productive Real Madrid generally is, both defensively and offensively. The biggest question is like, how do you play with him? Because if you want to get more of Camavinga making those runs with the ball, breaking lines, you want to be able to get him and Cruz switching as a six, and Cruz dropping as a six and build up, and Camavinga kind of like letting them interchange. The challenge has always been with those two against a team that presses you is like, how can you do that on the fly? City's whole thing is like, if we lose the ball, we're winning it right back. And that's the situation Camavinga is going to have to be really good at today. And ideally, you want to get him out of those positions where he's just swarmed, deep in our half. But it's going to be a little bit tricky. But if you can just get him out of that where he's left on an island and he's getting counter-pressed, that's going to be a huge thing for Real Madrid. Also, like your point about Kovacic said earlier about like, dictating rhythm and stuff and killing the tempo. That's true, but I also think like it's on us to prevent that from happening. You can allow them to kill tempo by just not putting pressure on them and letting them have time and space on the ball and letting them kind of pass it around and kill the game. I don't think that suits us. I think there will be phases of the game where that makes sense for both teams as we trying to catch our breath here. But generally speaking, I think you want to not let them have that, But I'm excited about like the transition football we can play because we have a fresh Jude, we have a fresh Rodrigo, we have a fresh Vinny, and we have, Brahim off the bench. I think we have a really good chance to hurt them tonight. I really do. There was a few other things I completely forgot what they were, but I'll bring in a quick super chat while I remember what that was. Ramkey says, he's one of our YouTube members. He says, I am worried about both Tchouaméni and Camavinga starting, considering that both are one yellow away from suspension for second leg. Well, we kind of touched on this. Maybe you joined late, Ramkey. Do you guys have any additional thoughts on this?
Tchouaméni at center back might be less likely to pick up the yellow. Camavinga, just in the position he plays, that's the one I'm most worried about out of all four. Then Jude. I actually don't think Vinny or Tchouaméni are going to pick up a card. Just center back is different. I know you can at center back, but it's just different than midfield. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't see Camavinga playing the return leg to me, if I'm being completely honest. If that happens, quite possibly, at least you would have the option of playing Militao as a center back then at the Etihad. I think he will be more ready than he's now, definitely for sure. So if that happens, I mean, I'm not saying it will be a blessing in disguise because I think Camavinga is talented enough to start in any game for Madrid. But at least definitely you would have the option of putting Tchouaméni as a defensive midfielder and start Militao alongside Rudiger, even if Militao would possibly maybe not need, but could use some more minutes to gain confidence and momentum for that game. The players are walking to the field. Let me show you real quick.
All right, let's do it. Live look from the Bernabeu. Lucas turning his laptop around. Beautiful. Lucas, there does seem to be, I mean, it's really hard to see from the screen, but there does seem to be a little bit more white than there usually is. Am I wrong?
The camera was good enough for you to catch any of this, but yeah.
Lucas, is there a little bit more white than usual? It's hard to see.
I mean, You have to be quite optimistic to say that, I would say, but maybe a little bit more than usual. I'll give you that. Maybe 15-20% more than usual, but definitely not something I would lose my head around.
I don't know I don't think we're going to win or lose because some dudes didn't wear a white shirt when they were supposed to. The closed roof too was a huge thing. Don't you guys think it was a kind of silly how much of a story this became? The closed roof. The roof, okay, is going to be closed. It usually is at the Bernabeu these days. I don't know if it's like this, like all of a sudden, like it's this huge. I don't know. I just thought it was so funny that they like announced it, like UEFA has given the green light.
I just learned. I just heard before the game that UEFA kind of not allows you to close the roof unless something big with security happens. And I heard that Real Madrid kind of let them know that there were some worries, concerns, whatever, about drones, maybe flying over the Bernabeu. Obviously, not police drones flying over the Bernabeu, but regular drones. So they wanted to prevent this from happening and maybe used this as an argument to close the roof. In La Liga, you can close the roof anytime you want. In UEFA, it works differently. And if I heard correctly, Real Madrid kind of used the drone argument to kind of force UEFA and close the roof tonight.
Lucas, how's the 360 screen looking? We're starting to lose Lucas. It's approaching that time where the Bernabeu is getting really full, and so therefore the Wi-Fi gets worse and worse as we get closer to the game, and the data is unusable as well. Lucas, are you still with us?
I think I am. I don't know how much of that past message you caught, but yeah.
Well, we got her off. I was gonna ask how's the 360 view looking, the screen?
Not used at the moment. It seems to be still being installed. Maybe you can see some of the screens there. I don't know how much of I don't know if it's 360 yet, but right now all of them are turned off. So it seems that they will not be used tonight.
I did want to ask you this. It was really funny. You saw the obviously you were at the Carlo press conference and Militao press conference, and I'm sure you've seen the Pep Guardiola press conference. The way he interpreted one of the questions was really funny to me, and specifically when someone asked him about his thoughts about Carlos saying that Real Madrid didn't show personality last season, and the way Pep interpreted it was like, I don't agree. He's like as if he was trying to take away credit from Real Madrid, from City. I don't think Carlo was saying that at all. It was really weird how he interpreted it. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. I thought it was just crazy the way Pep ran away with it and spun it a different way.
This is just Guardiola's passive-aggressive style when it comes to playing against Real Madrid, right? This is how I feel when Guardiola delivers some of these strange quotes. Whenever he's facing Real Madrid, this is always his passive-aggressive style. I completely agree with you. I don't think Ancelotti was trying to take any credit away from Manchester City. And it was kind of funny or surprising to see Guardiola taking this stance whenever he was asked about this specific matter. But I mean, not seeing the fact that Real Madrid didn't play with courage or intensity in the return leg is being blind. So and this is not taking any credit away from Manchester City. It's just a fact, stating that Madrid were not up to their own standards by the return leg. So yeah, Guardiola being passive aggressive whenever he's facing Real Madrid as usual.
Yeah, I think that's all it was from Carlo, was this internal reflection of like, we weren't as good as we wanted it to be. Like, it's very clear what he was trying to say. Anyways, like, it's not that I don't even think what Pep Guardiola said necessarily was wrong, but I think he interpreted it the wrong way. And to be honest, I think both things were true. And I think Real Madrid, if they play at their best, are at a different level, and it wouldn't have been as easy for City that night, as good as they were. I wanted to bring this up. Yesterday, you posted this lineup with respect to the sources you had, and this was also widely reported in the Spanish media after you posted this as well. So we know that these are the 11 players on the field. Do you see them actually lining up this way? There was also some other things I heard that maybe Rodrigo's going to be on the left and Vinny and Jude up top. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that or any inclinations on how
it's never symmetrical, right? So it's hard for me to kind of put these 11 players on the field in the way Real Madrid actually structure themselves whenever they're playing. This is just what I mean, whenever I logged in the app and clicked a 4-4-2 system, which kind of made sense to me to kind of represent how Real Madrid are playing today, this is why I went with the sources I talked about, who kind of hinted or suggested that this was going to be the lineup, were not talking about the system or didn't have anything to say about Vinicius playing in the center with Rodrigo on the left. They were only talking about the 11 guys on the field, if I'm being honest. So we'll have to wait and see probably.
Got it. We got some Como no te voy a querer chants in the background too. It's nice. The ambiance. These podcasts are great because it's not too loud for the podcast, but we can kind of hear what's going on. It's nice. Sid, what did we miss?
We got Danny Ceballos. If anything happens to Camavinga, don't forget. I don't want to see this Danny Ceballos erasure. He's. I'm just kidding. I mean, he hasn't played all year, but
I agree with you. Remember, Ceballos was really key against Manchester City 2 years ago off the bench, if you remember.
Yes, he was helpful. And I mean, with this lineup, I just think we're going to see a lot of shifting and moving. Like Vinicius, Bellingham, Camavinga, Mendy, all four of those guys can play on the left flank. They all can also kind of play out of the left half space. So you could get 3 on the left, 1 in the half space. You could get 1 on the left, 3 in the half space, 2 and 2. And who it is can keep shifting. And then you can have Vinny and Rodrigo swap on the right. Fede is the one who's probably going to be the most stationary, alternate between being wide right when Carvajal overlaps or just being a little more narrow and pushing up himself. But I'm just excited to see how those left 5, Vinny, Rodrigo, Jude, Camavinga, Mendy, how they interchange. Like, we literally can run any combination that we need depending on what Man City are doing. So I'm really excited to progress down our left. I hope we beat them up on the left.
You just had to throw in that wording, beat them up. You couldn't just say, I'm just excited to see what happened. That's it. That's all.
I hope Camavinga slide tackles Bernardo and leaves him on the floor.
No comment at all. All right, we are about 10 minutes away where it starts really filling up in the stadium. People start getting ready for the tifos and the anthems. Lucas, why don't you hit us with the catering bag? Did you get your catering bag? Did you pick it up?
I did. Let me show you real quick, buddy. I think it's pretty much the same thing you got from the Leipzig game. Yeah, the same as always. Same as always. But yeah,
inside a croissant, an apple, a chocolate bar.
What do we have here? This is the standard sandwich. I'm not gonna even open it up just yet. This is the croissant, I'm guessing. Correct. The croissant, the apple, and the chocolate.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah,
that's it.
Standard.
They just have copy and paste.
Florentino keeping it simple.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'll at some point, Lucas, we got to switch, and you go to the Etihad to experience the buffet there, and I'll go to Bernabeu so I'll sacrifice a little bit. Okay, guys. And you can kind of see the chaos of press row behind Lucas, people constantly walking by. I got nothing else for you guys except for nerves. And I don't know, we could continue to ramble. Like, I think this might happen. What if this matchup, we get this matchup? But I don't know. Anytime we do that, it's completely useless because the game goes a completely different direction. But what did you guys have anything else before we wrap it up?
I'm only coming on.
Not me, just closing. Go ahead, Sid. Sorry, go ahead. I'll finish after you.
I'm not. If you don't win, Lucas, it's going to be you and Keon post game. I don't know if I'm making it. I'm just kidding.
Well, Lucas, are you joining? You're going to the press conferences after the final whistle, right? I don't think you're going to be with us.
No, I'm going to the press conference after. These Champions League press conferences often take quite a long time. So hopefully joining you guys later this week for a show where we can maybe reflect about the game.
Kaku, our YouTube member, says no question. I hope all of us enjoy the game, and hopefully we'll be very happy post game. Vamos, completely agree. Well, look, enjoy the game, Lucas. Please ask Pep his thoughts about the roof and how important that was. And, I just want to see Pep complain about the roof. I'll be really happy if that happens. I just want to see him complain about the roof.
The roof, the rest. Once we win 2-0, like
I will.
What's the state of the cesspit? That's the real question.
Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Maybe
Okay.
not as sharp as it looked years ago before the constructions. I'm not entirely sure. Also, Paul Burgess, who was taking care of the field, he left. So maybe that's actually why the field is not as in a sharp state as it was years ago. But looks good to me. He won't be complaining, I don't think, Guardiola.
Why don't we close with this? Each of you guys give predictions for how the game is going to go, and let it come back to bite you in the ass, or let yourself gloat. Sid, you go first.
2-0 or 3-1. We win comfortably. Camavinga slide tackles Bernardo, and we remember this night for the rest of our lives.
I go with 3-1, but with a very late goal for Real Madrid. I think the game will stay 2-1 for the last 20 minutes or so, and Real Madrid find a very, very late goal. Maybe thanks to Brahim, I'll go as far as that, to make it 3-1 for the return leg.
I'm gonna go with a 1-0 win. We shot it out. We missed some transition opportunities. It should have been 2-0. And after the game, everyone's like, "Wow, man, Jude is amazing. City's like, we gotta figure out how to stop Jude next time. You killed us." That's my prediction. I think we're gonna go with 1-0. Chances to make it 2 or 3, but we don't take it. We shut them out, and that's it. So one of us is going to be wrong at least. Maybe 2 of us, maybe 3 of us. But hopefully Sid is the most right. You said 3-1.
2-0 or 3-1, and we get the Camavinga slide tackle on Bernardo specifically.
All right. Sign me up. All right, listeners, guys, we're not really going away anywhere, because right at the final whistle, we're logging back on YouTube, and just reacting to the game. So we'll see you after the game. Enjoy the game. Hope you guys stay sane. I hope you guys all take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. Don't get too high or too low. We'll see you after the game. We'll talk about it, and hopefully we'll talk about a W. And we'll end with this. Varun Krishnan says, "I'm flying over to Chicago to beat Sid up." You can do that in the summer. We're going to do a podcast in Chicago. You can come over there, and I'll hold Sid, and you can just get your boxing gloves on. All right, Sid, listen, man. Sid, if this is all correct, you'll be a hero. If anything, you'll be a hero. So I hope you become a hero for everyone's sake. All right, guys, enjoy the game. Lucas, enjoy it, man. Sid, see you after the game.
You too, guys. Thanks.
Peace out.